and welcome to your custom pencil box template tutorial. Before we get started, I'm going to go over a few things that you're going to see once you open the template. So first you're going to see this design reference guide. This is just going to show you that this is the front of the pencil box, and then these are going to be the sides of the pencil box. Then when you scroll down, you're going to find this part of the template. This is going to allow you to change it to any color that you want, and you're going to be able to drag and drop different elements and pictures on top of this template. And then this part of the template, you're actually going to be able to find any kind of pattern background or cool image that you like and actually just drag and drop it into the template itself. Now, the first thing that I'm going to recommend doing is, you can do this if you want. You don't have to use these fonts. You can use whatever font that you like. I just wanted my fonts to match the same or as close to the same fonts that come on the actual Crayola pencil box. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to find a free downloadable font that you can actually download and import into Canva. So the first one that you're going to find is this font right here, Omnis Bold. And then the second font that you're going to find is this Chauncey Fatty Fatty. So I'm actually going to include the link to the fonts in the template, but if something were to change, you at least know what fonts that you need to look for in Google and just find ones that say free download. Now I'm going to show you how to import those fonts into Canva. So once you come back to Canva, you're going to come over here to the text icon, and then you're just going to come down to one of these so that we can act like we're adding text to the document. And then once the text box pops up, we're going to come up here and act like we're changing the font. And then you're going to actually come down here to upload a font, and then you're going to grab the download of the font and import it into Canva. So for this tutorial, I'm actually just going to be working on the design that you can change the color and then add your elements on top of. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on the template, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go with like a Mario theme. So I'm going to pick some colors and make it a gradient that are on theme with Mario. So I'm going to hit add a new color, and I'm going to come over here to gradient, and then I'm going to select my colors. So Mario is really known for red and also his blue color. And then I'm just going to kind of change and play around with the styles down here. I think I want a little bit more red, so I'm going to add another red, and then I'm going to add that blue back. Okay, so I like something like this. So I think that this is a little bit too plain, and I kind of want to add something in the middle here that is going to make the image of our characters pop. So I'm actually going to grab some sort of like color splash or paint splash element. Now that I have our splash element, I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to crop it down. We want to make sure that we're not covering up this little smiley here, because this is actually going to get cut out with our Cricut. So if you have something that is interfering and laying over top of this smile, it's actually going to cut up and around it. So something like this, we want to make sure that it's actually laying underneath that smile. Okay, so I think something like this looks good, but I want to change the color to obviously match the theme. So I'm going to change it to yellow, and I like something like this. Okay, so this is good, but I kind of wish that this splash utilized a little bit more of this blank space up top and up bottom. And we know that we can't pull the element bigger because it'll cover up that smile. So I'm going to show you another way that we can kind of get this element to utilize more space on the template. So we're going to delete this, and then we're going to come down to the template frame, and we're going to copy it and paste it back onto the template that we were working on. And now we're going to find our paint icon, and we're going to drag and drop that into the template frame. So now you see that it's not covering any of that smile up, and we can actually make this a little bit bigger and move it around a little bit. But in order to design on top of this, we actually need to lock it in place. So we're just going to press that little lock icon, but then we also have to select this lock icon with the pencil. That means that it's just going to lock it in place and nothing is going to mess with the background. So we're going to lock it into place, and now I'm going to add my text on top. I'm just gonna select a text style, and I'm gonna start with the personalization. You can add whatever name you want, and then you're gonna come to your fonts, and this is where those fonts that we downloaded and imported come to play. So I'm going to select the Omnis one, and I'm just gonna play around with the font a little bit. So I'm going to change the size. I'm going to come to effects. I'm going to give it an outline. You can mess around with the thickness if you want something really thick. Then I'm going to go somewhere in between, and I think I'm going to do blue, and then I'm going to change the font color, and then I also want the text to lay nicely in this smile. So I'm going to come down here to the curve tool, and I'm actually going to pull it in the opposite direction. So it lays almost just kind of nestled in this little groove up top. So something like that. And now I'm going to add our second text to the middle here. So I'm going to select a text style again. I'm just going to type colored pencils. I'm going to come up here to spacing, and I just want the words to be a little bit closer to each other. And then I'm going to change the font again to this Chauncey Fatty font. Make sure both of the words are selected, and then change the font. I'm just going to resize this. I'm going to change this to our blue color. Let's give it a red outline. So we're going to go over to Google, and then you're going to type in whichever character you're looking for, and then type PNG after. So you're going to find whatever image that you want, and we're going to make sure that it has a transparent background. See, when this is white here, but when I clicked on it, it turned checkered. That means it does not have a background behind it. If you don't have Canva Pro to remove the background, you can always use a free background remover on Google. So once you find an image that you like, you're just going to save it to your computer, and then you're going to come over here to uploads and upload it into Canva. So I'm just going to resize my characters. Okay, I think that looks good. I also wanted to mention, if you don't have Canva Pro, but you've been thinking about maybe wanting to try it out, I'm going to link a free trial to Canva Pro in my bio. That way you can try it out for yourself, since now is the perfect time. So I just came over to Element and typed in crayon circle. I like using this one, but it's a pro element. So if you don't have Canva Pro, I'm going to show you another way that you can kind of get that crayon or pencil looking circle. So you can actually come over to Google and you can type in crayon circle filled in PNG. Now we're going to go up to our text icon and add a text box. There's 12 pencils in a pack, so I'm just going to type 12, and I'm going to change the font to the same font that we used for colored pencils. So before we save this, we want to make sure that none of these elements are either inside this smile, as we mentioned before, or are hanging outside of this rectangle box. So now I'm going to highlight this and delete it off. We're going to come up here to share. We're going to select download. Now this step is very important. We're going to make sure that it is a transparent background and a PNG. Once we have a PNG and transparent background selected, we're going to select what page that we want to tell Canva to save, and we're going to hit current page, and then we're going to hit done. So once your design is complete and you have imported it into Design Space, we're going to need to tell Design Space what dimensions we want our design to be printed and cut, because for some reason, I don't know why, but Design Space has a really hard time reading the PNGs and keeping the dimension. So unfortunately, we have to manually resize it. What we're going to do is we're going to select our PNG, and then we're going to come up here to the dimensions box, and we're going to change the height to 7.05. Okay, and for some reason, again, I don't know why, but this little warning happens to be there when I'm doing print and cut. I just ignore it and it turns out fine. And then this is a preview of what it should look like on our mat. I'm going to hit continue. I'm going to send it to my printer. So this concludes part 1 of the tutorial, and I'll see you in part 2.